So, today we're going to pull back the curtain on something fascinating, the invisible pulleys that guide our choices, often without us even realizing they're there. Alright, let me ask you something straight up. Do you think you're a rational person? You know, when you have a big decision to make, do you feel like you're logically weighing all the facts? I mean, most of us would say, yeah, of course, right? After all, we've got more information at our fingertips than any other generation in history. Seriously, just think about it for a second. We've got Google Search to answer pretty much any question we can dream up, Google Maps to get us anywhere, and now AI like Gemini to help us organize our thoughts. We are loaded with tools, so we should be making the most informed, rational choices ever, right? But are we really? Well, the legendary investor Charlie Munger, he had let's say, a different take on it. He was convinced that despite all our fancy modern tools, our brains are basically running on some seriously outdated software. As he so bluntly put it, man is easily fooled. And that right there gets to the absolute heart of what we're going to unpack in this explainer.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to dig into these ancient mental glitches. Then, we'll zoom in on a couple of the most powerful ones. We'll even see how they've literally shaped history. And then, the best part, we'll discover how knowing all this can help us see our world and maybe even ourselves in a completely new light.
So, let's get right into it. What exactly are these glitches that Munger was always talking about? Well, his term for them was psychological tendencies, but honestly, it's way easier to just think of them as our brain's built-in shortcuts. Now, here's the thing. These aren't bugs in our system. Not at all. They're actually features that were incredibly useful for our ancestors' survival out on the savannah. The problem is, in our super complex modern world, these same mental shortcuts can make our judgment go completely haywire. And the crazy part is, we often don't even notice it's happening. All right, let's dive into the first one. And this is the big one. Munger considered this the most powerful tendency of all, our supercharged response to incentives. And look, this isn't just about simple motivation, like getting a bonus for a job well done. Munger argued that incentives have a kind of superpower. They can subtly warp our thinking so much that we start to rationalize even awful behavior, all to get that reward. There's this famous saying from the old Soviet Union that just nails it. They pretend to pay us, and we pretend to work. That, my friends, is a broken incentive system in a nutshell. You know, getting incentives right, or getting them wrong, has absolutely massive real-world consequences. Just look at these examples. In the business world, you had Westinghouse with these contracts that actually paid contractors more if their costs went up. Can you believe that? It was a total recipe for disaster. Now contrast that with something like Mexico's Progresa program for poverty aid. Instead of just building empty schools that teachers had no reason to show up to, they did something brilliant. They paid mothers directly for their kids' school attendance and helped